Are we prepared for our future? Absolutely not. I'm here today to show you how we are failing our children, and by so we are failing ourselves. Our schools are sorely underfunded, and the pupils, our children, our future, are ill-prepared to compete in a global marketplace. To correct this, it only takes the efforts of everyday citizens like you and me. It's our obligation to reach out to our government representatives and demand that they invest in our retirement, in our future, our success, invest in our children. Now, today we're going to talk about the historical underfunding of schools and the new House Bill, HB 7069, and how this impacts us. So HB 7069, it takes away additional funding from our already underfunded public schools. This year, $30 million in fact, and it's going to keep increasing as we have more underperforming public schools. It takes away school board oversight additionally. The money that's given to charter schools and private schools through HB 7069 is money that's invested in private organizations, but they're not held to the same standards that our public schools are. The school board doesn't have the same oversight, and our state government is doing very little to control these schools and what they're teaching our kids and how they're teaching our kids. They measure their success with their own rulers. In addition, HB 7069 mandates additional school programs like recess. Now, recess isn't a bad thing. I think we can all agree that recess was great. Here's the issue. We allocate no additional time to our teachers at public schools, no additional resources. These programs like recess have to be complied. They're compulsory programs, and compliance is mandatory. But there's no additional time given to our teachers for this. So they have to figure out how to weave recess into a day that's already inundated with mundane tasks, with tests, with lesson plans. Furthermore, HB 7069 takes additional money away from schools the worse their performance is. So an underperforming school gets less resources. That means that the books, the tests, whatever it is that is required for these teachers to teach to these kids in class is not provided by the school. These teachers have to figure out a way to put it in their classrooms. So they take the money out of their own pockets. They take the money out of their own pockets to teach these kids, because if they don't take the money out of their own pockets, number one, these kids do not get the education they deserve. And most of these teachers teach in these neighborhoods out of a passion, out of a love for teaching. Number two, if they don't do this, these teachers don't get a pay raise. They don't get a bonus. They potentially get fired for not performing up to state standards or county standards, even though we never provided them with the tools, the resources they needed to do the job appropriately. Teachers' pay is based on performance. I don't know if all of you here know that. But the worse the teachers' test scores are, their students' test scores, the lower their raises are. So these teachers are caught in a conundrum because either they take the money out of their pocket, and they're already underpaid, to buy these supplies, and it's hurting them, it's taking food off of their table, or they don't do it, and then they don't get the pay raise that they sorely need at the end of the year. So I don't think it's a far stretch for anybody to realize that this is causing a huge teacher deficit in underperforming schools, and it's decreasing the funding more in these schools. And the thing is that the kids in these schools, they can't go anywhere. We say there's a voucher program, so they can go to a private school and the state will pick up a portion of the cost and the parents have to pay the difference. They don't have any extra money. Their parents can't afford to pay the difference. Well, they say that we can send them to a charter school. Well, the waiting list, number one, is so long at most of these charter schools, 2 or 3 years to get in. 2 or 3 years. These kids are done with elementary school, with middle school, in 2 or 3 years. And even if they did get into these private schools or charter schools, many of these families don't even have a car. They don't have transportation to send these kids to these schools. So what we've done is we're creating a cycle of poverty. These kids move into these neighborhoods, they live in these neighborhoods, they're undereducated in these neighborhoods, and they do the same and the same and the same. And the state continues to take more and more and more money from the public schools, funnels your tax dollars, that's right, your money, into private organizations. And if that doesn't outrage you, I don't know what will. So what is being done about HB 7069 and what can you do about it? Well, as of right now, 14 school districts have filed suit with lower courts against the state of Florida, claiming that the state has log rolled this through, which, for those of you that don't know, log rolling is when you pack a bunch of little bills together and send it through as a one big one. That's not legal in the state of Florida. We require one subject per bill. So 14 school districts have gotten together and filed suit against the state in a lower court, and 9 additional school districts have filed suit with the state Supreme Court. These 2 cases are running concurrently. Additionally, parents, educators, and just plain concerned citizens all over the state, they're writing letters, they're writing emails, they're making phone calls, they're posting on Facebook. They're talking to their state representatives, their local representatives, their state representatives, they're educating people, and I implore all of you to do the same. Get out there, call Rick Scott, call your local representatives, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to anybody who will listen. Let them know what's happening. Imagine what Florida will be like 20 years from now if the current educational crisis isn't addressed by concerned, rational people. Just think about it for a minute. That's right, we won't inspire any new teachers. What's the incentive? We certainly won't attract any seasoned teachers, not from other states where they're getting paid good and treated well. Not to hear. We won't attract families with children. There's no reason to come here, what, for a poor education? And we certainly will not attract industry that is looking for an educated labor pool. Our only economy will be tourism, and the hurricanes are wiping that out for us. So, in the future, if we're not attracting industry and we're not educating our people, what are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. We're stagnating our economy. And even worse, this could lead to total financial collapse. If bills like HB 7069 are allowed to remain on the books, we are not only robbing our children of their potential, we're putting at jeopardy our own financial stability and our investment we have in Florida. All of us here own homes, we rent here, we have families here, we've invested in this state. And all of that, all of our investment that we've put into this state is at risk because we're not investing in the one thing that can protect that, our children and their education. So today I leave you with the immortal words of Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." So today I implore all of you to think about what changes you can make to affect the world around you. And I'm here to tell you, You can start by reaching out to your state representatives and making sure our children get the support they need and they deserve from us. Thank you.